Uncle Bo TV. Haven't done it in a long time. We'll be back. We talking mental health for men. I got my boy in the building, Kelvin. You know what I mean? Bro, introduce yourself, man. And tell them what you do.
What up, y'all? I'm Kelvin, but I go by Soul. I'm a poet, mentor, public speaker, a little bit of everything, man. I'm big on mental health myself. Using writing and poetry to kind of help people express themselves and be able to get those thoughts out that we often feel like we can't share with people or we don't think people will understand. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. Okay, how long have you been doing poetry?
Shit. I've been writing since I was about 15. I started performing, probably been performing for about like 8 years now. Couple
Okay.
different been in a couple different cities, couple different states. Um, yeah, it's kind of took up a big portion of my life for like the last 8 years.
And you would say like you love doing this type of art, right?
Oh yes, sir. Yep, no, for sure. That's why I push it on people so hard. Like I try not to push too hard, but I try to push it on people, let them know like growing up, even me personally, my idea of poets is like, the Shakespeare, the stuff they feed you in school. So when you tell somebody about it, they kind of like, man, I don't want to do that. But like when you really get into it and you kind of put some of this stuff down on paper that you think about that runs in your mind all day. You kind of sit back, look, reassess, reflect. You can kind of pull yourself out of some situation. You can even help pull somebody else out of a situation you've been through that you kind of like worked out using writing and poetry.
Hmm, that's beautiful. So you like to pretty much change lives when they pretty much come out and listen to your poetry,
Yes, sir.
right?
Most
Like you pretty much would
definitely.
like to tap into people's, yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal,
Okay.
man. Like it's if you hear it and you feel something in it, um, take it with you, sit it with you. If you want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
it, that I'm big on mental health with it. Like I love doing poetry, but I love the fact that it helps more than the actual doing the poetry side of it. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay. So how would you say poetry has helped you or changed your life at a point in time?
Growing up, I was always a real timid, shy, reserved kid, and I kind of internalized a lot of things. I'm a middle child of five, and I don't know if you know about that middle child syndrome, but that's a real thing. Like you kind of the forgotten one. So being,
Mm-hmm.
finding poetry, finding writing, it allowed me to say the things that I felt like nobody would ever hear. So when I started, that was the mindset. Like, all right, I just got to get these thoughts down. I just got to get this stuff down. Like I said, about 8 years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, letting me know, like, hey, I kind of want to start doing this thing, but I don't really know if people are going to care what I'm talking about. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're gonna really pay attention. Um, that one night I did it, and it kind of got hooked to it, and it has opened so many doors. I've met so many people. Um, I have changed and grown so much individually. Just being able to use this poetry to, kind of take steps forward into healing and growing and understanding and maturing. Um, it's really taken me to some places I never thought I even be.
Mm. Mm. Same thing with me and talking about, this podcast or whatever. Cause it's like, the reason why I take hiatuses is kind of normal because, I'm dealing with my own mental health and dealing with things by myself. So it's like I'm very human, like, when it come down to stuff. So I take my breaks, when I need to, because making content is a lot, and
Yeah.
then trying to work and then trying to, piece everything together. It takes a lot of work. So when you have something that you actually love to do, you can also take a break and get back to it. So it's like, what are the times that, you would say like, you take a break from it and then you get right back to it? Like, does it feel brand new? Does it feel fresh, or does it feel like, I'm getting back to it?
Uh, the last one. It's usually
Hmm.
getting back to it. I've been doing this thing for like the last 3 years, where I take the first 3 months off. First three
Mm.
months of the year off. January to March, you ain't gonna see me. You ain't gonna hear about me. Don't holler at me. Don't say nothing to me.
I feel that.
don't don't look for me. If I
Hmm.
pop up, don't say nothing. Just watch in amazement because he walked through the door in his three
Yeah.
month hiatus. Like, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Just leave me alone.
Hmm.
Um, and the first time I did it, I had the first thought like, dang man, if they gonna remember me, did I do enough? Am I gonna
Hmm.
be forgotten? Um, and so I did that first 3 months, that first year. I came back that April. As soon as I came back, everybody's like, "Hey man, what we waiting, man? I had this show that I was setting up, and I didn't know
Hmm.
who I was gonna get. We couldn't talk to you, like." So it's one of the like I'm with you on that. Like you got to take them breaks because that burnout is real, especially
Yes.
when you're handling a lot, when you're moving a lot. Life itself can burn you out. Trying to hold your household together, work, they taking everything got you and giving you pennies for it. So like you said, when you find that passion, like you can channel some of that energy in, but you can also take them breaks. Like
Yes.
I love doing this. This will not be the thing that burns me out. Is kind of how I feel going forward. So like when I do take that time off and I come back in that April, it's like, all
Hmm.
right, let's get to it now. Like, you call me, holler at me. You want to talk, we can talk now. It's April 2nd because the first, it's a
Yeah.
joke. Don't talk to me.
Right.
April 2nd.
Yeah.
Hit me up April 2nd, and we can start
Hmm.
talking about collaborating and working up until December 31st.
Right.
Until get back in January, So it's
Hmm.
now I'm in that energy that's like, yeah, let's get back to it. I took my break. I had my family time. I had my me time.
Hmm.
So now I feel more recharged when I do come back. Like I don't feel like I'm being drained from January to December. Like, all right, we charged up. Let's get back out here. And
Yeah.
battery get low. It's like, all right, I'm gonna holler at y'all in a couple months.
Hmm. I like to call it like a mental recovering period. You get what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like
yeah,
you gotta think about it. Like animals go into hibernation and shit. They don't talk to nobody. They don't fuck with nobody. You know what I'm saying? They could, but nah. This is my time to rest, get my
for
mind
sure.
straight. You know what I'm saying? Sleep, whatever. But and that's my thing. I feel like a lot of people need that. Especially artists out here. So that's a good that's a good idea right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that they know they can have that for that thing. I was just saying, like, as an artist, some people think they only as good as the last thing they put out. So
Mm,
people sometimes think like, man, I can't stop. I can't take a break. I gotta stay grinding. I gotta keep giving the people what they want. But it's not even really it doesn't always come down to that.
hmm.
Sometimes the impact you made and the time you made it is, it gives you that space and that grace to be able to recharge. So if you are artists and you trying to figure out if they gonna forget about you, if they do, they never cared about you in the first place.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing,
Simple and
especially
plain.
like music artists today. You know what I mean? Like you see them trying to chase the streaming and everything like that, and how social media is, they want everything fast and consistent and keep, and constant. But the thing about
Yeah,
it is that, the fans don't understand, bro. Like you have to be able to be 100% charged to give you the great music that you expect. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And that's the thing about everything. It's like if you rushing it, this shit is not gonna be of quality. It's not gonna be great quality. So I
And
feel like a
we
lot of
see a
people,
lot of that too.
right, and I feel like a lot of people need to understand that, especially as a consumer. Yeah. So I said that right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
what else did I want to go into? It is Black History Month. Me and you, black men,
Yeah.
and we discuss the mental health. So I want to dive deep into that. How does that affect you as far as like generations previous and how we are today, as far as mental health? What's your
Oh,
thoughts on
that's a great question. Generations before, can't say they didn't care about it. I don't think they was given the space and the opportunity to really explore it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like even, generation before me, pops, moms, all before me, um, saying that you depressed was pretty much akin to saying that you dancing with the devil. Like there's no such thing as depressed. Black people, we can't get depressed. That's like that's
Yeah,
not a thing. Like you can be depressed. You feel me? Like you can be down. So I think the generations before us, they only knew what they knew, and that wasn't something that they was afforded. Like we have the opportunity in our space and in our time, with things like the internet and mental health actually being pushed a little bit more than it used to be. We have that space and that opportunity to discover it. Now, there is that challenge, as black men, where you still, that's still that heavy stigma that you can practice mental health, but there has to be a line drawn. Like you can't really fully embrace your mental health. Like you can
yeah.
do it up until the point where your blackness or your maleness ain't called into question. And
Mhm.
and that's the problem that we face today. Like it's accepted. It's like, hey, yeah, you can be depressed now, but black man, you can only be depressed for like 3 days. You gotta get
Yeah.
back. You gotta bounce back, man. Come on, like don't crack. Get back into it. Like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like so. That's my thoughts on, like, that's the generation before, they had no idea. We have an idea now, but I still don't think we given the space and the grace to be able to fully tap in into, like, hey, how do you grieve after a loss? Hey, how do you handle relationships that is no longer beneficial to you? How do you separate yourself from a woman when you're not supposed to? Because that's not what men do. Like you just stuck there, my dude. Like that's just what it is. She toxic, whatever. You chose this. This is your path. Like like I said, there's a limit. There's a point where
I'm
you
out of here.
stop. Where your mental health stops in the eyes of other people. Like, hey, you can be sad, but you can only be this sad, black man. And that's kind of how I see it currently.
My bad. Had to fix Wi-Fi.
No, you good, you good. Yeah, but that's kind of
Little
kind of I
Wi-Fi
think we
issue.
see it. I mean, we up here talking about some stuff that we talk about, so some gotta some gotta. That's how it be.
My bad. It's a little Wi-Fi issue.
No, we good. We locked
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
We back in.
What you were saying?
But yeah, this ultimately, I feel like we in a current situation where we allowed to share, talk about our mental health,
Yes.
but it stops at a point. Like you can't go past that point. You go past that point, now you're questioned about your blackness, about your
Mhm.
your, your manhood. Like now it's questions.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like,
Yes. Right.
and I
Right.
feel
Right.
like that's where we currently are. Like it's accepted, but you can only go so far with it until people are now looking at you, like you, like, what you mean, like,
Mhm.
like you can be, it's you sad, cool, you can be sad, but you can shake that off, keep moving, and to an extent, I guess. But if you in the hole, you don't want to hear somebody telling you, hey, you can't be in that hole that long, because that's not what we do as men.
Yeah. It's weird because they take being what is it, mentally and emotionally aware, right? They take that as being feminine, and I think
Yeah,
that that's where the problem really lies, because it's a lie. Just
for sure.
because you are aware of another person's feelings or how people should react to certain shit, that does not make you feminine. That just make you aware. And on top of that, that just give you more of a superpower that most people don't have. The lack of self awareness is a problem that's not being talked about enough. So
Yeah.
um I don't know. I feel like a lot more people need to discuss that aspect rather than it just being like men don't know how to um what is it called? Men don't know how to express their feelings. I feel like
Uh-huh.
there's a problem because there's no teaching that. There's no teaching of that. So once we get that understood, I feel like there'll be, some better understanding of what's going on. Because when we
Yes.
actually as men try to express our feelings, it comes off in a way where it's just like, damn, like what was that about? It's like if I was given the lessons growing up, then I would address it as such. But yeah, hell yeah, that's a hell
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct, bro. 100% correct.
yeah. So with that being said, with relationships and stuff like that, um what relationship would you say has helped form your understanding of mental health?
Well, well, you coming with these questions, man.
Sorry.
Nah, don't be, bro. These fire questions. Um, the one I can say that has really molded a lot of my mental health, or at least understanding awareness of mental health, is my relationship with my kids. I got three boys, 12, 11, 9. All boys. So watching them grow up and having to learn how to express myself to them and express myself around them. Um, seeing them react, like, because when they was younger, when I was younger, they was younger, I really didn't know exactly what that meant. So I kind of, I blew up a couple times. I still, practice that internalizing blowing up situation. It wasn't until I start seeing some of those actions and some of those traits in them that
Mhm.
I was like, nah, we can't let this keep going. Like, we at some point we got to stop it. And I know the only way they're going to be able to stop it is if I stop it, because they
Right.
watch everything I do, walk, talk. Even when I do my best to watch my words and stuff around them. So I make up little, I try to replace words. And
Mm.
one day my son used one of my replacement words, and I was like, "Oh man, that's so cute." And then I realized this dude was cussing. so,
That's
so
hilarious.
you know what I mean? Like, it was
Yeah.
it was cute. Like, oh man, he used that word. Hey, I know what that word mean. I made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so it's like one of those, like, they watch every single thing I do, every move I make, every person, every interaction. Like, even like we out there playing and stuff. Like, um, they're watching. Like, even flag football out there, you can hear them, and like they watching everything. So it took them displaying some of those, like, short fuse, anger pop off moments. And it's not that they, angry, or they
Mhm.
just don't know how to express. They didn't know how to express anything outside of that, because they wasn't taught to express anything outside of that, because the example, that's all I knew how to express.
Right.
So that's what really kind of like made me hone myself in to, like, hey, you really have to really, like, evaluate how you doing these things. 'Cause they're boys, and we
Mm.
know, as black men, the older you get, the more dangerous you appear to the rest of the world. And for some reason, you blowing up is kin to a death sentence in certain situations. So you got to learn how to adjust yourself to the situation, the environment, act accordingly,
Mhm.
carry yourself a certain way. So seeing that and having those thoughts, like, man, I don't want this to continue. Um, Let me figure out how I can work it for myself.
Mm.
Um, Another one is my best friend. She has been, like, my kids have taught me self control and unselfishness.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
she has taught me uh love, patience, and understanding. So I had these two relationships that I was able to, find along this life journey, however you want to say it, that
Mhm.
kind of really helped put, those pieces together. And, once you start practicing those things, you start getting a little more insight, a little more information, a little more knowledge on how to go about doing things better, how to pick it up. So like once you start practicing, you find different ways to do it better. And those are like the two, biggest relationships that kind of propelled me into really taking mental health seriously.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful, man. Um, so do you look at fatherhood as an opportunity to, like, pretty much, not, I wouldn't say prove a point, but to show that, how would I put this? Because I mean, like, being father, first of all, is like, pretty much showing by example, well, leading by
Yes.
example. You know what I mean? But then again, we do have friends who just so happen to not be available for, for their children, right?
Yep.
So how exactly do you handle that without judgment, but to give an idea? Be like, hey, you should put in the work, or you should help out, or you should call that kid, or
Ye-
something like that. Like, what? How do you
Yeah.
do that?
The kind of like sort of how you touched on it. Like I'll be in your ear about it. Like, hey, like like the importance of father. Whether you had one in your life or not, the importance of having a father. And every relationship don't look the same. Let me not I can't jump down your throat like, hey, you need to be there every day. You need to pick them up from school. Like all those things are nice. Don't get me wrong, but being present, period, is what's important.
Yes.
Like however you find your way to be present in their life, be present. Um, Now this is probably gonna be an unpopular opinion. Some people probably shouldn't be around these kids because they just gonna continue to keep that cycle going.
Mm-hmm.
um and I hope that's not what you do if you're around your kid, but
Yeah.
being present definitely helps your kids change chances in so many different levels. um but if you feel like you don't need to be there or shouldn't be there, I would challenge you to look at yourself. Like, why do you feel like? Because I mean, they didn't choose this.
Yeah.
They didn't choose this path. You feel me? So for you to just feel like they don't matter, you really have to like look at yourself. Look at the choices you making, and figure out why you think that it's okay. And
Yes.
I didn't go to law school. I don't have the credentials to be a judge, but silently, I might just gotcha
Yeah.
silently in my heart, and I'll
Mhm.
and wish you the best and hope that you find the answers you're looking for. Because I've n- noticed in a lot of situations, an absent father is usually a man looking for something. Um, whether it be respect, money, like he's usually looking for something. That's why he's not there. And in some cases, if I had this something, then I can be there.
Yeah.
But all you really need is yourself.
Yeah.
Like they just need you, flawed and all. Like if you're flawed, don't worry, they gonna call you out on your flaws. You just adjust,
Exactly. That's
just
all.
just work on them. You know what I mean? But to just be a complete ghost is a wild endeavor that I wish no man takes.
Yeah. And I'm glad you hit that, because I too believe that it, just a father's presence is important in the household. And I think that the percentage of men taking advantage is going down. I'm seeing a lot of more fathers being there. A lot of
Okay.
more family men, not just being in the house, because that's important too. I've seen in my lifetime of men being in the house, but you know, there's
Yeah.
no fatherly duties, or
Yeah.
being
There's no
nurturing
presence.
or anything. Like, yeah,
Yep.
no true presence. Like, they're in the
Yep.
house, but there's no true presence. And
Yep. Yep.
I've seen that numerous of times. But the next topic I want to go into, we're almost done here. But the next topic I wanted to go to was um since this being Black History Month, what icon would you say stood out to you the most to make you understand that you were important?
Uh, uh, it's a good question because I don't think many people would say this or even know who this person is.
Hmm.
There's a poet named Black Ice.
Okay.
He the spoken word poetry fire dude. Like everything he has put out has been just it's damn near revolutionary with
Okay.
every word he says.
What's his name again?
Black Ice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually what got me into poetry because as I said I was writing at 15.
Okay.
Um, and 15, 16 ish is when
Okay.
YouTube would like became a thing. Like when YouTube was like really, everybody can get on it now. You just gotta have access. And me and my homeboys used to watch Def Poetry Jam, thing they
Mm,
had way back in like the 90s.
right.
And I seen the first time I seen him, it completely flipped my mind on what a poet and a black man could be.
Mm.
Um, because I'm looking at this dude like you see this dude and you like like what is he gonna talk about? Like you're not expecting, the level of raw authenticity, the raw honesty, the transparency, like watching a black man stand on stage and peel the layers of himself to show like, hey, I got feelings, I got emotions. What you gonna do about it? You
Yeah.
feel me? So it kind of it kickstarted a lot for me because it was like in that time where I was like, all right, I don't have to stay in this box. I don't have to stay scared of the world. I don't have to bite my tongue or hold my words back.
Hmm.
Um I can be me. I can stand up. I can show that stuff hurts me and tell somebody that stuff hurts me. So for me, he really he in himself really like geared me into the direction I'm in now. To want to be able to share these things, to want to be able to help somebody get through these things. Because he probably like I talked to him like one time on like a quick little humbug thing,
Hmm.
but like I don't think he really knew how much seeing a black man be more than just a black man
Yeah.
really changed my perspective on what we could be.
I love that. For me, it was literally just watching how what was his name? Because I want to say James Baldwin, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Because just the way he articulate his words, um, he was very like we say, he was very dead ass serious, you know.
Yeah.
Everywhere he traveled, he already knew the people that were there didn't want him there. So he spoke
Mhm.
his mind with no regards, and that's pretty much what stood out to me, And I wanted to kind of like follow that in a way, but you can't just go in like that. So I'm giving a nice soft version of myself first, because what happens is um a lot of people have the tendency, especially um black people, we're very reactive people. We
Yep.
react to a lot of things. So um let's give out this positive reaction to stuff before we just start popping off and saying how we truly feel. um
Mhm.
and I think that's the case. um that's probably how you can get a foot into the door. I wouldn't say that I'm faking anything. I would just say, like, let me see what kind of people I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't take the truth, can't handle it. So um I feel like that is the best way to get my foot into the door. And then after that, we could talk about whatever. But I just felt like the way that he carried himself, he was good with everybody. Nobody had a necessarily an issue with him to the point where they would physically harm him. I just think that
Mhm.
what it was that he was very gracious with the things that he said. So
Yeah.
that's my person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
I
many
like
more to
that.
choose. There's definitely many more to choose from. You know what I mean? But the last thing I want to ask you, um, with this with this recent uh with this recent inauguration, we got a new president and everything like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see there's a lot of black men for Trump, right? Meaning that
yep,
they don't become oppositions, they don't become people who we just hate. They're still our brothers, right?
yep.
What is your reaction, and how do you handle your brothers who voted for the Orange Man?
Uh, Orange Man is crazy work.
Yeah.
Um,
I got to put a joke in there, bro.
I'll fucks with it. Um, Look, I'm big on meeting people where they are. And I think that's kind of what you was touching on, like at the end when you was talking about James Baldwin, like how you're approaching it. Like sometimes you have to meet people where you are. Um, I'm not gonna crucify you. I'm not gonna criticize you. If I love you today, I love you tomorrow, unless you give me a reason not to love you. Now, I am gonna think you put raisins in your potato salad now. So don't bring the dish at the cookout.
Fact. Okay.
And don't look at me if they stop you at the door.
Mhm.
Don't be like, hey, I know. Nah, so nah. My
Yeah.
card valid. I ain't even had to swipe it. They just seen my face and brought me in. Nah.
Yeah.
If you need somebody to verify you supposed to be here, I'm sorry, my kid, you ain't supposed to be here.
Nah, you ain't supposed to be here.
Um, so I do believe that sometimes you gotta love people with a long handed spoon. I still love you. Don't That's just something that we can't necessarily uh talk about. I dislike the fact that religion and politics is such a taboo conversation that it's hard to talk to people about it.
Mhm.
Because some people believe so firmly in what they believe that they're not willing to see a different perspective.
Yes.
And with the Orange Man, a lot of them people are so firm in what they believe. It's hard to be like, hey, I get what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And so I don't necessarily want to get into particulars with them. Still love you. Still going to love you. If you need the shirt off my back, I give it to you. But it's gonna be on the end of a spoon that I hang out my window around the
Yeah.
corner somewhere. Uh,
That's real though.
don't bring don't bring your potato salad. I'm good on that.
Mhm.
Don't do that. Don't do none of that stuff. But I still love you, and I still like you said, it's still my brothers. I still want to see you prosper and thrive.
Yes.
And I made enough dumb decisions in my life to understand that the dumb decision don't define you. Um, but again, we don't want your potato salad.
Yeah. Yeah. You invited, but it's I'm saying
Don't
like,
bring a dish, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're immediately revoked if you bring any dish. I'm sorry.
Shoot.
But hey, but I always bring this. Nah, no more. Nah, no more. We're
Nah,
good.
for real. We
We're
don't need
good.
your ribs either, brother.
Yeah. I
Um.
seen you buying raisins the other day. I'm good. I don't want nothing out your kitchen.
Oh shit. All right. Before we head out, what how will I put this? Do you have any books or like video or any like movie to like recommend for any kind of like empowerment or mental health?
Oh, that is a good question. Um, I One of my favorite books of all time is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
What's it called?
Um, The Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is it is a book that I always suggest to people that that's that's looking for something. That's they feel like they're on a journey. They've been running in circles. They don't know what's going on. Um, I I always suggest The Alchemist. It is a great story. It had a lot of tidbits on. when you find yourself stuck in a situation, how pull yourself, or not necessarily pull yourself, but how to keep moving forward, or
Mm-hmm.
find a way to redirect your perspective on how things is in your life. It helped me a lot. I went through a real I went through a divorce many moons ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I was going to do. After reading that book, it allowed me to like gain a different level of perspective on how, not just when to take the next step, but how to take the next step, and um how to adjust, or react, or process when you do take the wrong step, or you do take a step that you don't feel like is working.
All right.
The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, I advise everybody read at least once.
Hmm. Hmm. Because I might take a read myself because that sounds beautiful.
Yes, sir. I'm
Um.
telling you, it's one of those, like, I call it a self help book disguised as an adventure. Like it's not that plain cut and dry. Hey, it's 5 a.m. Wake up. Like it's a self help book because you're learning a lot. You're picking up a lot of different things in it. But it's a story about a guy going on a journey.
Wow. Because I hear a lot of people talk about the what is it called, the rich dad poor dad, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, the
But
rich dad poor dad.
yeah, and it's like to hear a different book is pretty cool. So yeah, that
Yeah.
that might be a question I ask a little bit more often. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you for taking the time out to hop on the podcast with me. Yeah, and then thanks to the people for listening. So it's just like stuff like that, and having conversations like this is what heal the world, you know. And that's my thing, fellas. Like if we supposed to be, the whole man of the house, like we need to be sharp, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
recharging and self-reflecting and having moments to literally deal with your mental health is very, very important in order to move forward. You know what I mean? And like we moving families forward, we moving new generations forward. So I feel like
Yes.
start tapping in, start talking to more people, love yourself, things like that. So yeah, man, I've been CuZo and I got my brother Soul in the building. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Uncle Bo TV. Peace. Yeah.